In February 2025, Saquon Barkley stood on a Super Bowl stage as a champion, the AP Offensive Player of the Year, and the owner of the most rushing yards ever recorded in a single NFL season, including playoffs.
Saquon Barkley went off. 26 carries, Ocho, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's the most rushing yards in a single game in Eagles history. That's the 9th most rushing yards in NFL history.
He had just broken a record that had stood since 1998. He had just won the first championship of his career, and the team that drafted him second overall, the team he spent 6 years fighting for, the team he publicly said he wanted to retire with, they had let him walk in free agency over a contract difference of approximately $1 million. $1 million. That is the Saquon Barkley story. Not the yards, not the records. The fact that he produced all of it after the organization that was supposed to build around him decided he was not worth the price. Barkley was born in the Bronx in 1997. His family lived on a dangerous block known for shootouts, under the discipline of his father, Ali Bey, a boxer who understood pain and survival. When Saquon was 4, they moved to Copley, Pennsylvania, seeking a safer life. This move defined him. His father wasn't handing him a comfortable path, he was handing him a standard.
My dad actually used to just take me to the street and put gloves on and make me fight random kids for whatever reason. I don't know.
At Whitehall High School in Pennsylvania, Barkley did not develop into a standout. He arrived as one. From his sophomore to his senior year, he carried the ball for 3,646 yards and 63 touchdowns. In his senior season alone, he averaged 8.6 yards per carry and scored 31 total touchdowns. He was a 3-sport athlete, football, basketball, and track, and he won the gold medal in the 100 meters at the Eastern Pennsylvania Conference Championships. He was ranked the #1 player in the state of Pennsylvania in his recruiting class, and as high as the 6th best running back in the country nationally. Penn State won that recruitment. He chose the Nittany Lions over Notre Dame, Pittsburgh, and Rutgers, and what he did in 3 seasons there erased any remaining question about what he was. He finished his college career with 3,843 rushing yards, 43 touchdowns on the ground, and another 102 receptions for over 1,000 yards receiving. He won the Paul Hornung Award as the most versatile player in college football. He was a 2-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, and in 2017, his final college season, he finished 4th in Heisman Trophy voting while being the most physically dominant running back anyone in that conference had seen in years. The New York Giants selected Saquon Barkley with the 2nd overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft.
With the 2nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley.
Not in the 2nd round, not in the 1st round after a trade down. 2nd overall, the highest a running back had been selected since Adrian Peterson went 9th in 2007. The Giants were making a statement about what they believed they were getting. He validated it immediately. In his rookie season, Barkley rushed for 1,307 yards, caught 91 passes, scored 15 total touchdowns, and produced 2,028 yards from scrimmage, the most by a rookie in NFL history at that point. He won the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He made the Pro Bowl. He did all of this behind an offensive line that was not built to make his job easy on a Giants team that finished 5-11. That last detail matters. He was not putting up numbers because the team around him was good. He was putting up numbers in spite of the team around him not being good enough. That distinction is exactly what separates a generational talent from a product of circumstance. But then came the moment that almost ended the story entirely. On September 20th, 2020, against the Chicago Bears, Barkley went down with a torn ACL. His season was over in a flash, leaving him with just 34 yards and a devastating cart ride off the field. What followed was a brutal 2-year battle. He rehabbed relentlessly through the offseason, only to suffer an ankle injury in 2021 that limited him to just 593 yards. 2 years of his absolute prime were eaten away by injuries and a broken Giants offensive line. He was 23 when the ACL tore and 25 before he could truly run free again. Most running backs never recover from this kind of downfall, but for Saquon, this wasn't the end. It was just the setup for one of the greatest revenges in NFL history. In 2022, finally healthy, Barkley showed everyone exactly what had been interrupted. He rushed for 1,312 yards and 10 touchdowns, his best single-season yardage total to that point. The Giants went to the playoffs for the first time in his career, making it to the divisional round before losing to the Eagles. It was the one bright spot in 6 seasons. And what the Giants did next is one of the more stunning decisions an NFL front office has made in recent memory. They franchise tagged him, not once but twice, in 2022 and again in 2023. They would not give him the long-term security that a second overall pick who had just rushed for 1,300 yards deserved. The relationship deteriorated to the point where, in July 2023, Barkley asked Giants co-owner John Mara directly for a trade. Mara's response was a firm no, accompanied by the suggestion that a trade would not be in Barkley's long-term interest. The Giants then let him reach free agency in 2024 rather than tag him a third time. The Eagles signed him to a 3-year deal worth $37.75 million. The Giants' final offer had been approximately $1 million less. 6 years of service, a torn ACL, 2 franchise tags, and a trade request that was denied. And the organization that drafted him second overall let him go to a division rival over $1 million. When the Giants told Barkley on HBO's Hard Knocks that they were letting him go, he processed it visibly. He said later that the clip did not reflect the full relationship he had with the organization, but what the clip did reflect was a front office that had repeatedly chosen its own financial posture over the player who had given it everything he had, including 2 years of his prime that he can never recover. The argument that followed Barkley throughout his entire career was not about his talent. Nobody who watched him play ever questioned the talent. The argument was about his position. Running backs, the logic went, are replaceable. The NFL had spent years demonstrating that teams could plug in cheaper options at running back and get acceptable production. Le'Veon Bell had held out of Pittsburgh over the same conversation and lost. Todd Gurley had been cut after a massive contract. Ezekiel Elliott had been paid and then watched his value decline rapidly. The position itself was being devalued in real time, and Barkley was living inside that devaluation while trying to get paid what he was actually worth. The Giants used that narrative to justify not giving him a long-term deal. The broader league used it to suggest that no running back deserved elite contract money, regardless of what he produced. What nobody in that conversation was willing to account for was the possibility that Barkley was not a running back in the conventional sense, that he was something the position value framework was not designed to evaluate, because what he could do with the football in his hands simply did not fit neatly into any existing category. The 2024 season with the Philadelphia Eagles answered every version of that argument permanently. Behind a functional offensive line for the first time in his career, Barkley rushed for 2,005 yards in the regular season, becoming only the 9th player in NFL history to reach that threshold. He set the Eagles' single-game record with 255 rushing yards and 302 total scrimmage yards against the Los Angeles Rams in November. He finished as the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He was the runner-up in MVP voting, and in the playoffs he added another 499 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns, setting the all-time NFL record for rushing yards in a combined regular season and postseason with 2,504, breaking a mark that Terrell Davis had held since 1998. Then the Eagles won Super Bowl 59. The Giants finished that same season 3-14, the worst record in the franchise's 100-year history. The team that drafted him second overall, that tagged him twice, that refused his trade request, that let him go to a division rival over $1 million. They watched him break an all-time NFL record and win a Super Bowl ring in his first year without them. Saquon Barkley grew up on a block in the Bronx that his mother described with one word: shootouts. His father was a boxer. His family moved to Pennsylvania to give their children a different kind of future. He showed up to Whitehall High School already built, went to Penn State and became one of the best college running backs anyone had seen, got drafted second overall, tore his ACL, came back, got franchise tagged twice, asked for a trade that was denied, left for $1 million more, and then broke the all-time rushing record and won a Super Bowl. That is not a career. That is a complete answer to every person who ever questioned whether he was worth it. Watch this next video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.